All right, 6 o'clock. No, not this one. One second. All right, are we on air? So calling the Select Board Sewer Commissioners meeting to order. All members present, including Mark, who is online.
And he needs to turn on his camera.
And there he is. Oh, yeah, okay, and there's that. So, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First item on the agenda is public comment. I do not see or hear anyone standing up for public comment. So I'm going to move to the next topic, which is board reorganization for chair, vice chair, and clerk. Do we have any motions?
I'd like to make a motion for Christina Pedoni to be chair.
I'd like to second the motion.
Discussion? I don't know if Mark can hear. Get,
Yes, I can hear.
okay. So Mark, just, you heard motion, second. Do you have, now it's open for discussion? No? Oh, no discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next
Aye.
item. Sorry,
Aye.
got it.
I'd like to make a motion for Mark Frieden to be clerk.
I'd like to second that.
Any other discussion?
Except that I'm clerk of the planning board, so I'd rather that it stay with Jay because he's so good at it.
I'm not gonna acknowledge that.
That-
I can assure that for the
That's not
record.
on
Not on
the,
it?
that's not been
Okay.
moved.
The motion on second is
All right, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Mark?
No.
Okay, gonna move along
Did
with
it go?
that. All right, the only
it go?
item.
Did it pass?
Yes, congratulations. Vice Chair is next up. Do I have a motion for Vice Chair?
I'd like to make a motion for Jay to be vice chair.
Do I have a second? No, Mark's not seconding, so,
I'd rather he be clerk.
okay, I will second that motion for discussion. You guys are really not excited about this, so we need to figure out something to get more excited about reorganizing. Any further discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Mark? You're a yes?
Aye.
Good.
Yes, I'm a yes.
Good. I hope no one watches this. This is gonna be bad. All right, next item on the agenda, to review and vote to approve warrants for the period covering May 15th, 2024 through June 5th, 2024, as noted, noted in the agenda, as amended in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Someone telling me doesn't have to scream into it. All right, next item, to approve meeting minutes, January 3rd, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second? I second? Any
Okay, I'll
further-
second. Oh, okay.
Yep, you're out. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Yep, okay, good job on that one. Next one is May 20th, 2024, sorry. Regular meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mark? Yep, okay, aye. So, Jen, because we like to go completely out of order, if anyone views this and posts this online, I'm gonna die, okay? We run so more efficiently. If you've ever seen any of our other ones, it's much better. Can we jump to the select board assignments for 24 to 25, since we have Mark here?
Sure.
Just because I like to also mess up the entire agenda and then forget where we are. All right, so looking at the assignments, I believe right now for Affordable Housing Trust,
No, I don't
What?
want to be there.
you don't want to. All right, so does someone want to volunteer to be on the Affordable Housing Trust?
Sure.
That's awesome. I heard Jay for that one. I'm gonna go all the way down the list until someone tells me no. I have to be on the bylaw committee one, which is really exciting for me. Earth removal, mid-project, so I think that one should be Mark. Mark, do you disagree?
Yes. No, that's good.
Okay, Economic Development Task Force, Jay, I think you like that one?
Yeah, that's cool.
Does anyone else want it? No. So, the Facilities Implementation and Strategic Planning Committee, we need 2 people on that. I think right now it's Mark and Raj.
There's nobody, we never,
Oh,
Oh,
we never
I
assigned
don't know
anyone?
who's in.
we never, once we reorganized dropping it from the full board to 2 members, we never put anybody on.
Okay.
But they will actually be meeting.
They will. All right, do I have any volunteers for that board? Mark?
I'll be one.
Yes, okay, that was great. Mark said yes. One more person?
I think Raj should be on that. No, I don't want to.
For a little bit of context, Madam Chair, at the town meeting, we approved $200,000 for a study for the DPW and fire
Building.
building. So FISP will be involved in developing the RFP and what that looks like and what we're gonna scope out for a project, and then selecting the bidders.
That sounds like an awesome thing to put on an election thing for, if someone was up for running, could be like a little,
I am up for running.
could be fun. Okay,
I can do it.
yep, all right, so it's Vanessa.
Welcome.
Yep, thank you. All right, so the building committee, I thought this thing
Yep.
had gone away, but it's here to stay. We need only one person for that?
I'll do it.
What's the difference between that and FISP?
Just, shh, right now, I'm not taking any questions on that. I don't know, Mark.
Okay.
Well, actually, one's actually planning RFPs for new buildings. I would like them to look at what their objective is, and the other one is actually
Spending money.
spending money.
There's a small pool of money
Okay.
that, for non-budgeted, unforeseen items that come up. We just, for example, appropriated money out of that. It doesn't need to go to town meeting for lights to be switched over at the senior center.
Okay.
It's a small lift.
A small lift, all right. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah, is what you call it, FinCom on that too, or a part of that too?
Ray recalled.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, if somebody else wants it, take it, but
Vanessa said she wanted it.
go for it.
All right. Parks Facility Committee, we need 2 of those. I cannot be one of them.
No. I don't want to be on everything.
You are,
Jay,
You
you're
are.
on it. So Jay, I think you're great. I think I just heard you volunteer. Vanessa,
Yeah,
do
Jay.
you love that one? No. Mark, do you want that one? You do?
Well, no, I don't want all of them.
No, you're not on all of them, Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll
so
cross
Mark-
out Vanessa and I'll put Mark in. All right, I'll do that too.
Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, Townwide Planning Committee.
You can do this one.
All right, there we go. Roger, you're just not gonna be on any of them? Is that what we're going with?
I
'Cause
want
you didn't get shit? Okay.
only CMRPC.
I'm on transportation.
Okay, transportation, anyone gonna fight Mark for transportation? No.
Stage match.
All right, PEG board, I think that should be Jay. You really do well at that, Jay. And I can't be on that one, that won't work out well. All right, so Raj, the only one that you want is the CMR.
CMRPC.
Okay, so
But he can't do that. He's on the planning board one as a primary.
No,
I'll
I
be the
just want to-
alternate.
You can be on the primary there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Planning
Well,
board-
I'm not gonna go to that meeting, so you're gonna have to do that for me at that meeting, please.
Madam Chair, Planning Board appoints the primary, Select Board appoints the alternate. So they're doing that later on this evening.
Okay, so we're putting, Raj, you want this one? Okay, Raj, Upper Blackstone Water Pollution Abatement District Alternate.
I can do that one.
You can do that? Yeah, I don't, all right, so you
Okay.
have everything of these. If you don't, I wrote them down. So I'm just gonna make a sweeping motion to approve based on how we assigned them just recently. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll do the motion. Oh, second.
Okay. Any discussion? No? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Good.
Aye.
All right. Now, Jen, do we want to jump to our attendees that are here?
Yes, that's actually the first thing under new business.
I'm very excited about this. We don't have them come forward, because this is an agreement for animal control services with the town of Rutland. And Jennifer Ford, and
Austin Saganowitz is the
Okay.
town administrator in Rutland, and Jen Ford is the animal control officer in Rutland. So before turning it over to them, just briefly by way of background, Boylston and West Boylston started a conversation many months ago now, looking for more enhanced animal control services. We started talking to a number of communities on the 495 belt. That did not pan out. And then we pivoted to a pre-existing group of communities that is managed through Rutland. So we have been working with CMRPC to come up with a shared service agreement over the course of the past 3 or 4 months. We did have one community drop out, and that was Sterling. I'm gonna let them talk about what they currently offer, but Leicester, Boylston, and West Boylston are all looking to join, and they're gonna enhance their services. Presently, we have an individual who works on an on-call basis and receives a stipend. They do have a full-time day job, so they're not available at all times. And I think the board is aware of some of the challenges that that has presented. We have historically been paying $12,000 a year in total for those services. In anticipation of the potential of this agreement going together this evening, I budgeted $28,500 for the budget, and I will turn it over to Austin and Jen.
Well, good evening. I thank you, members of the board. Thank you, Jen. I will quickly turn it over to Jen. I just want to thank CMRPC for also assisting with this process. Rutland has been in the regional animal control business for a while now. Currently, I think it's 5 communities that we're working with, and I think Jen has done an excellent job on behalf of Rutland and the regional operation. Obviously, this is a pretty significant expansion, which also comes with some beefed up staffing. We really believe in the service and believe that it will be a great service for the town of West Boylston as well. So Jen.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer Ford. I'm the Regional Animal Control Officer for Rutland, Barry, Paxton, Princeton, and New Braintree. Although now I think I would like to sit on the chair or something here, because this seems, I think I maybe want to be the clerk. No. So I covered those 5 towns now independently, so it's just myself. My typical work week is a traditional 40-hour work week. I am not technically on call, but I'm happy to receive and respond to calls after hours and on weekends, whenever I can. I mean, it's obviously not feasible to be a 24/7 person with one person, but I try very hard to prioritize those things and be available when I can. I find a lot of the times that a simple phone call for somebody on a weekend just to say, yes, I hear you, I get the complaint, is it, if everybody's safe and secure, is this something that can be addressed Monday morning? And a lot of times if people just receive that feedback and that call, they're very comfortable waiting, if it's not something that's emergent. So I feel the problems come up when they don't hear anything for 3 days. and then they're like, I called and it's a problem. So even if I can't technically respond, I mean, I have sat on a cruise ship answering emails with my husband yelling at me in the background. So I try very hard to respond, even if it's just through a phone call, et cetera. The addition of towns will provide me another full-time person. We will stagger those hours to some degree. They will probably be more, I work like an 8 to 4 shift, depending. I mean, obviously, my days can vary greatly, and some days I'm in at 6:30, and some days, I'm there till 6:30. But for the most part, we'd like to stagger the next person more of like an 11 in the morning to 7 at night shift, where it will overlap considerably. We're not getting into those late nighttime hours where you wouldn't knock on somebody's door for just a basic complaint. You're not gonna go knock on someone's door to say, hey, your neighbor said your dog was loose yesterday at 10 at night, but it will give a little more coverage and allow somebody to up a little and around a little bit later to answer some of those emergent things, and also provide a little bit of weekend coverage. It would probably be something similar to like a Tuesday through Saturday schedule, something, probably not both weekend days. But, again, between the two of us, we can fill in those gaps. If the Sunday isn't covered for 8 hours, we can certainly fill in the gaps on the weekend for those other things. We have our own kennel. So the kennel right now houses 5 dogs at a time. I've never found, really truthfully, I've never found that I've gone over like 2 or 3 at a time. So the addition of the towns should not be a significant problem space-wise. We've always had, ample room. We have some extra fencing and stuff and some kennels outside the PD if we did run into a problem. But as of right now, we never have. The kennel is staffed by me. So when I do have a dog in the kennel, I am there. So I do go in 7 days a week to care for that animal. In a situation I couldn't, the police officers in Rutland are very accommodating as far as, running down and checking on a dog or feeding a dog if necessary. But that happens very rarely. So the kennel is, like I said, staffed by me and suitable for the needs, I think, of additional towns, just because, like I said, we never seem to be at max now. The addition of another person will be the addition of another vehicle. I handle everything from domestics, dogs, cats, wildlife calls. They're my favorite because there's never an owner, so they're great. So I love the wildlife calls. I handle livestock calls if need be. For my other towns right now, I do not do the barn inspections. We do have a separate animal inspector, but I do believe that's something that you guys need. So we said we would work with that, and I will probably shadow one of my existing ones come fall before we delve into these, just to make sure that we're doing that appropriately. And then would go on from next year to see how that worked out with us handling that aspect as well. We handle the quarantines, strict confinements, any dog bite situations, all the basic complaints, the state laws, the bylaws. I must do other things, but I can't think of them right now.
I have a question. Is this, you are 40 hours, the other person is also 40 hours?
Yes.
So if the town residents like to reach, or if they have to call you, call the dispatch?
Right now, it goes through all of the, I deal right now with 3 different dispatch centers. That will obviously increase with additional towns. I think it will bring me up to 5. They all have my cell phone number. They get in touch with me different ways. Rutland pages it out, and then if I don't answer in a timely manner for them, they'll call me. The other dispatch centers can either do the same, or they can just call me direct, whatever they prefer. But we have the citizens call the non-emergency police department number for their towns.
Not the central dispatch?
Ours
maybe
goes, we have a central.
Yeah,
so
You
we
go
have a
through
central
Holden,
dis-
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I already do
Yeah.
Holden dispatch between, I cover Princeton and Paxton, and they already go through Holden dispatch, so they'd have no
So if
problem.
somebody called you Holden dispatch,
They would call you a regular dispatch, they would for
Then
the
it
police
will go to
department,
you.
and they would get in touch with me, which again, they do now anyway, so I'm very familiar with them.
on the weekdays, 9 to 5, you will be available, right?
And the weekdays, I work typically 8 to 4, we should probably have coverage at least 4 days a week
In
until
general, in
6 or 7 at night. But again, they call me at all hours, and if I can answer, I'm more than willing to, and if I can go, I'm more than willing to. Oftentimes, sometimes, again, I can talk a police officer through a situation if it's needed, but they all have my personal cell phone, and they call me whenever they need to.
So you won't be coming to the town hall?
I can come to the town hall, if,
Is that a,
Do we have an
Six
office for,
office?
we don't even have an office here
no,
for.
We don't have an office.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
would-
say, we don't have anywhere for.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean-
people can only talk over the phone, right?
Currently,
that's the
well,
same.
or more typically, the interactions with animal control are happening out in the fields. A lot of times it's a neighbor calling, so it's happening at their homes typically.
Truthfully, going through dispatch is your most efficient way to get in touch with me. First of all, they know how to find me, and trust me, they hunt me down. Second, it creates a log. It creates a log in through the police department system. So if I want to trace an address or call your year-end reports, they can print those out for me through Holden Dispatch, what they do for me now for 2 other towns, and then I can compile your year-end numbers. So people reiterating things to me in person and or email or through Facebook or all of those other things really isn't that efficient, and it makes calls sporadically in all different areas. So we don't take, I do emails, we don't take private messages through it, because things just get lost in the shuffle if they come in from 6 different sources. So going through the dispatch centers keeps everything compiled nice and neatly and makes everything very traceable.
I assume we will have update the information on the town website.
Oh, of course. This won't start until July 1st.
That's all, thank you.
I have one question, just because it's near and dear to my heart, and I almost went, well, my husband stopped me, I was gonna go pick up this rabid animal that was in the backyard. What do you do if someone calls in and says, I think there is a animal foaming at the mouth in my backyard?
I mean, if there's a potentially sick animal,
Yep.
right now, we could either go and catch that animal and have it humanely euthanized. Oftentimes, we will have an officer just go dispatch it because it's the most expedient way. I do not carry a firearm at this time. It's
Okay.
something that we're considering for the future. I used to be animal control for the city of Worcester
And they have.
years ago, for a number of years. And I did carry then, so I'm very comfortable doing so. I still have my LTC. I don't carry right now.
But you do accept those calls?
Oh, yes, any wildlife calls, yep. But like I said, oftentimes the request will be, if dispatch calls me and says, okay, there's a very sick animal, I want them to explain the symptoms to me a little bit.
Yep.
And if we think it's something that's going to be dispatched, oftentimes I'll say, okay, is there an officer available that can go do that? Because it's silly to send 2 resources when really only one is needed at that time. But I do handle those calls, yes.
Okay.
One more question. In other towns, in a year or in a month, how many in a normal situation? It varies, I know that, but how many calls you may get?
How many calls may I get in a month? Oh, I wish I could have been prepared for that.
Well, you throw it back to you.
Is
What I
it a
do is
10,
throw it over to my
50?
town administrator, then it looks like they're not prepared. And then I look at- I don't know if you want to do that, but I
Gotta
mean,
go.
if you wait like an hour, I'm gonna look over and
It
she's
de-
just gonna give me dirty looks.
It depends how encompassing you want to be. I probably get, especially this time of year, I probably get 5 or 6 calls a day through my dispatch centers. So
In all the towns?
give or take, right now, between maybe 5 or 6 through my dispatch centers. That doesn't include the bite reports that come through the town hall or through the emergency wards or the family practitioners. It doesn't include the strict confinements that come in through the veterinarians. It doesn't include the kennel inspections, the barn inspections. But as far as, again, and that can vary so greatly. Springtime, I might get 12 calls a day. You know, I mean, I'll get a lot of injured, orphaned wildlife during the day. This time of year, if it's January, I might get 4 or 5 calls a day. You know, it just really depends on the time of year. When people are out and about, you know, I have more dog bites in the spring and summer because people are hanging out in the park, not so much in the winter. COVID was terrible for me. I was busier during COVID than
Because everybody got a COVID dog.
everybody, COVID dog, and everybody was out and about. So everybody was everywhere, and,
No, we weren't. We were confined 6 feet
well,
apart.
yes, they were home, like, they were home, but out and about, like, they were
I'm
walking
just
their
being
dogs, they were
fresh.
in.
It's been a long day for me, so.
Yes, you know, and they also noticed things, like, because they were home and working from home. So we got a lot more complaints about the neighbor's dog barking or the neighbor's dog running loose, which, and a lot more wildlife calls, but these were just things that always happened. People were just at work and didn't notice.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I have 2. So if you find an animal that doesn't need to be put down, do you refer someone to a rehabilitator, or do you have those resources?
If it's an injured wildlife, yes. So anything that's injured, I have several rehabilitators that I work with fairly closely. A raptor, one that's in Shrewsbury. We have one in Jefferson that handles all of my orphan baby little things. If it's injured and it's an adult, I typically use Tufts Wildlife. They're phenomenal. They're there 7 days a week. You can bring stuff to them anytime. They don't typically take just the orphaned. They'll take injured. It is illegal to trap and relocate in Massachusetts. So the calls I handle are something that is orphaned or injured. They're not your nuisance wildlife calls. So if somebody calls me and says that I have a family of raccoons that live under my deck, That's not something I'm gonna handle.
Yeah.
Because they have to, anything, it's illegal to trap and relocate, so anything that is trapped, if it's not going to a medical facility or a rehabilitator, it has to be humanely euthanized. So through Mass Wildlife, they license, they license certain agents, they're called PAC agents, probable animal control. And they are licensed to trap and humanely euthanize what they consider nuisance animals. So we don't do that stuff. It would have to be something that was injured or orphaned.
My second question is on here, mentions fines may go back to community members. What kind of fines are these?
It depends on your town bylaw. So some of my towns have, and I haven't perused those yet. Some of my towns have leash laws, some do not, some have a nuisance law. They can be fines for, a violation of a leash law. They can, the nuisance law, you can kind of work it that way, but it's not quite designed exactly the same. Other fines can be for not having your dog licensed or vaccinated. A lot of those go through the town clerks. So when a dog's unlicensed, usually those fines are sent out by the town clerk, but we could administer them as well. Usually if I go to someone's
I
house, their
think
dog's not
we're-
licensed, I would give them a timely fashion to do so, and if not,
We have some generic ones, leash law, a few other very small things, but not, kind of what I even saw on your town website, because I did poke around to see if we were somewhat aligned, and then instantly exited when I saw that we weren't. So we do have some, but this, my hope is we probably need to be more consistent.
But that's truly very much okay. I mean, my town's very greatly. My laws in Rutland or Barry are very different than my laws in New Braintree. I mean, they live in a whole different time frame out there. They do. I mean, I think their town hall is open 2 hours a week. I mean, it's just a very different world. So, we adjust and deal with the citizens appropriately and, accordingly.
So the one of the complaints you may receive is the dogs wandering in the cemetery. How are you going to handle it?
The dogs wandering in the cemetery. If we know who owns those dogs, I would certainly speak to the owners. If we don't, I would try to find the owners, and if it meant sitting in the cemetery for a little while during
People are there and supposed to be on leash, I guess.
Oh, no, we would certainly address that and go to the cemetery and speak to
That's one
them.
of the complaints, one of the,
Yeah, that's something we can certainly, just like any other loose law or, violation, it would be going to speak to the owners.
Dog park.
Okay, none of them do.
So
Paxton-
somehow the cemetery has turned into
Yep.
an unofficial dog park, which is not
Okay,
what our cemetery should be. So that's kind of give you a
Yeah,
little
no, absolutely.
background, it's a little reference that. All right,
I just have one thing, if I could add, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
There was some commentary at town meeting from some residents about the increased costs of this service. I hope what you have heard this evening highlights the large amount of services that we were not providing to our residents, the sheltering, the bite investigations, dog hearings. We were doing those at sometimes, but the wildlife. So this is a remarked increase in services for what I really consider short change at the end of the day.
Yeah.
With the dog hearing, it's under you, right?
I'm the
No.
hearing officer, but Jennifer would be investigating and providing the information about the bite. It's not just coming from Facebook
Yeah,
anymore.
all of my towns have a different hearing authority, and that's the authority that can deem a dog a nuisance or a dangerous dog. And in some cases, most of my towns, it's the select board, but that can obviously vary. So I would handle the complaint, write up the report, put in a recommendation, present the facts at the hearing.
Yeah, we
You know.
had one or two for the past, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Mark?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I have one, does the agreement that we have, include barn inspections?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Barn, he
Will-
wants to
It will include barn inspections, yes.
It does, okay, I thought you were mentioning that you haven't done them in the past.
I have not.
That's okay.
The towns that I cover now, I'll have a separate animal inspector that handles the barn inspections. But West Boylston has asked if I would do those, and I don't have a problem with that. And I will certainly shadow some of my other animal inspectors previous to that to make sure I am up to par.
Okay, and that's included in the whatever the fee structure in this agreement?
Correct.
Okay, that's all.
I do have one question for the town administrator.
Sure.
So do you expect a fee increase for our town next year? How many years you guaranteed this amount?
I thought you were asking
I had
our
an easy
town
question.
administrator. I was like, that's a great question.
So actually, I think there's language by, was it February 1st, Jen, in the draft IMA that representatives from each community will review the proposed budget. So there's an opportunity to weigh in for each community. So that's a
So
non-answer.
that's a no increase, right?
We're strictly
Go on,
increasing West Boylston. Can I just add one comment, Jen, about your passion for wildlife? It was interesting. So I started about a year ago. I think since I've been in Rutland, you've brought an owl or something into the police station, or a hawk, whatever it was. She brought a baby raccoon into my office. She does a really good job for all of her communities, but you can tell that she's, really passionate about this profession. I think she'll provide a really good service for you. We'll try to see if she can bring a raccoon to a future select board meeting, or an owl.
I have an
I brought a
owl
baby
box.
opossum too, that's really cute.
No.
No? They are our coolest animal, you say no, but they are our coolest one.
All right.
A spiel, if you
I'll
want the
tell
spiel
you
on
the
them.
day I'm not gonna be sitting at this table, you bring that animal. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I think we've already, are we voting to approve this, or
Yeah,
what? Yeah,
Don't.
so,
so do I have do you have any, no other further question? Would you like to, are you putting forth a motion?
no, I'm just saying that if she brings that critter in here, I don't want any part of it.
Well, that's
Oh, I
what
don't
you're
have to-
trying
I will
know
bring
who's
it to you.
talking? Okay. All right, go ahead.
I do have one more, I have one more
I'll bring
question.
it to you.
All right, Mark has one more question, and then you're gonna go off mute? You're gonna unmute?
Yes, I'll mute myself. What about like snakes and turtles? Are those just nuisance animals that are not really,
No, I do them all. I've picked up probably 4 snapping turtles in the past 2 weeks. So, I mean, we don't take them anywhere. Strictly, I move them out of the roadway. I picked one up at the school last week. The key is to move them in the direction they're traveling in, and so I usually just get them across the road or someplace safe. Snakes, they're not high on my favorite list, but I handle them.
okay, excellent, good. It's
I mean, depending
my
on
wife
what-
would be
depending
concerned
on what
about
they're
that.
doing. We don't have many snakes here. They're gonna create a public health hazard, but if someone has one in the kitchen, I'm happy to go help you get it out.
Excellent, thank you.
What about chicken?
Well, it's,
No, nope, that's too soon.
okay.
No, too soon, Raj, but thank you. That was a trick question, okay? All right, thank you so much for coming. It was
Thank you
great
for having me.
meeting you.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the MOA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Aye, aye.
Okay, thank you so much. Don't post this video, this is not our finest moment. The next
It
one
was
will
my
be
favorite
better.
select board meeting yet.
Listen, it's just gonna be one of those days. Thank you so much, it's great meeting you. We will plan for no increase and random questions at our next. And I built an owl box and no owls showed up, so if you get one, put it in my
In
house.
the owl box, okay.
Yeah, I want an owl
So if I'm on the way to Tufts, just
Put it in there
In
and
the
I'll
owl
feed
box.
it. No snakes.
Bats?
No,
Oh, I'll take the bats.
okay. So, yeah,
Every
so
house.
you'll get our contact, we'll pick our
I'll just
animals.
pick, everybody pick an animal.
Yep, that'll be good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Before I go, Jen, if you wanna. All right, so because we are still going out of order and we have someone sitting in the audience, we don't get a lot of the people that attend these meetings, so I was excited when I saw you come in.
We're almost feral.
We're, shut up. Do we want to welcome them up and do
Yes,
we
so-
want to jump around a little bit? Are you okay with that?
So it's the Quinnipiac Dam Removal Project.
Okay. That is under,
New business at the bottom of page 2. And
Yep,
I have the PowerPoint here, so I am going to,
we're gonna, you got, this
my
is great.
screen.
We're not going to make you sit through 4,000 other agenda items. We're going to jump you to the front.
Oh, that's awesome, thank you.
And I think you've been exchanging emails with a gentleman named
Is
Mark.
that Mark?
That is,
Frieden?
yes,
Yeah,
that
okay,
is
hi.
Mark
Hi, Mark.
live.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very excited. I want you to.
Oh, that's
did
great.
you
Yeah,
know-
we are too.
You did great answering all of his questions, I thank you.
Oh, thank you, okay.
All right, so will you introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. I'm John Gregoire. I'm Senior Program Manager of Reservoir Operations at MWRA. And I was also the design manager on this contract and the PM of the project now as it goes into construction.
Great.
So I do have a presentation.
Yep, and it's
So-
up there,
okay.
so you can just tell me next slide
Okay,
and
yeah,
I'll
I've got-
advance it.
I've used this presentation at other places, so I kind of recycled it, if you don't mind. So there's some animation built into it, so I'll just say click, click, click.
Okay.
All right? Okay. So I'll talk about these things. I think I have 10 minutes? Okay, I'll go a little quickly. If you want me to linger on something, you have questions, I'm happy to take them. So I'll talk about the project location, history, the rationale for removal of the dam, some of the design components, and then one of the major things I want to hear back from the board is the rail trail access that we're requesting, schedule, and then I'll show you a couple examples of successful dam removals. Next. So you all know this. This is where the Quinnapoxet Dam is located. Click. And this zooms in. That's Oakdale Power Station. Quabbin Aqueduct comes 25 miles from Quabbin, and it comes up from 200 feet below in shaft 1 and through a hydro turbine where we generate hydropower, and it exits into the Quinnapoxet River from that facility right there. And the Quinnapoxet Dam in question here is to the right. Next, please. This is just zooming in on it. This, you can see, it's really not in the greatest condition, but we'll show you some other slides. Next, please. So basically the history, this was created in 1905 when the reservoir was built. The unique thing about this dam, there's practically no impoundment. Most dams have an impoundment behind them. This dam, the crest of the spillway, is just about at the original river elevation. So it's a very unique dam. What they did do here differently to control sediment before it entered Wachusett Reservoir was they excavated and over-widened the downstream channel, which is a very unique way to do this. And I'll show you some more examples. Next, please. So these are some original design drawings from early 1900 of they called it the Quinnapoxet Circular Dam. Next, please. And so this is a cross-section of the weir, the spillway. And you can see that's the approximate river channel. There's very little impoundment there, which is good news for us from a dam removal, because a lot of dam removals, which are now coming into fashion, a lot of them fear what they find behind the dam. A lot of the sediments are contaminated in dams, and that's a big cost impact. Our testing behind the dam, we did borings and so forth, it's all clean. So clean that we can reuse a lot of the material that we're gonna move around there on site to restore the channel. Next, please. So it's just showing where that spillway apron is. Next. So this is the downstream channel. So you can see the original river channel, and this is an actual circa 1902 drawing. And click again. And so this is what they did downstream. They basically excavated and over-widened that channel. The whole concept here is that the high flows in the Quinnapoxet River would overflow the weir and go down and float in that channel and then kind of back up at the 3-arch bridge on Thomas Street. And that would back up the water a bit before going into the next basin. And as the water's backed up, the sediment falls out of solution. It was basically a sediment retention operation. Next, please. So this is what it looked like before the dam was constructed. This is 1905. This is what they called before improvements. They called improving this beautiful river, damming it, but next, please. And so this is how the labor happened. I mean, it was all manual labor. I believe all men at the time, horse and carriage, and moving boulders and putting them on the cart and moving them out of the channel, and that's how they worked back then. Next. And this is looking back upstream to the completed dam, and you're now starting to see that downstream substantially over-widened channel. One more. And this is down at the 3-arch bridge. You can see how they armored the embankments on the whole thing to accept the high flows and prevent erosion of the bank. And next. And this is looking from the big glacial deposit, the big sand deposit there, looking down. You can see the original river channel in the center there, and the actual channel is about 5 times the width of the original river. And that was all intended to fill up and accrete the sediment from the high flows. Next. And this is just a Google Earth image from very recent, showing that channel full of water. You can see it's still, it's basically the reservoir backing up in there at this point, but you can kind of still make out the original channel. Next, please. So just a few shots of the dam construction. This is 1905. You can see all the carpenters building all the forms to do all the masonry work. Next. And there's the dam soon after it was completed in September 1905. Next. And this is when it started flowing a couple months later. And next. And this is just a winter shot. And where those three trees are is where the Oakdale Power Station is now, where we're generate hydropower. And that's River Road, kind of behind that there. Next. All right, so when this was built, completed in 1905, evidently they gave no thought to fish passage. They just built it and they didn't think about it. Around 1935, we located these photos and they decided that, hey, we have fish in here that need to spawn upstream. So what they did, they built a fish ladder. And I apologize, these photos are kind of grainy and blurry. They're from the 1930s. You can see the fish ladder on the right. Next, please. And this is a shot of where the fish ladder exits at the top of the spillway where the fish would come out at high flows. Next. That's another shot of the at a high flow in the river with the water cascading down the old fish ladder. And next. And that's just another shot of the fish ladder. And next one, please. So, all right, so what happened between them? We have no record of how well that fish ladder worked. We searched, couldn't find anything about it. But we know that for after 5 years, what sounded the death knell for that was bringing Quabbin water into Wachusett. Because as soon as we started bringing Quabbin water, I say we, I'm not that old, our predecessors, they started transferring water and exiting that tail race into Quinnipoxet River. Next. Basically, it created what's called an attraction flow, and spawning fish, salmon, and trout, they look for high flow to get upstream that attracts them. And so that flow, that's 300 million gallons a day coming out of the tail race at the power station. There's no way that the river can compete with that kind of flow. So next, please, a little cartoon here. So the fish actually are going for that, and we see this when we're out there. When we're transferring, the fish do come up there and they realize they can't go any farther. So they'll do their limited spawning, whatever, just around there, you know. They're kind of stuck there. Next. So this is what the fish ladder looks like today. It's really kind of failing, it's crumbling and so forth. Next. All right, so let's get into the rationale for why we want to remove the dam. So this reservoir was designed in essentially the Victorian area, the 1890s. Back then, it was designed to basically be full as much as possible. It was basically built to serve the greater Boston area. Boston was growing exponentially at the time due to all the immigration and so forth. They didn't have operating bans here. They just basically let it fill, and if the rain became too high, it would spill, but mostly they wanted it full to keep serving Boston. Interestingly, when the chief engineer, Fred Stearns, designed this, in a report to the State Board of Health in 1895, they didn't even think this was going to be adequate. They thought Wachusett wasn't going to be enough. And in 1895 state report, he said, and if this isn't going to be enough, we are envisioning another reservoir in the valley of the Swift River, which we all know became Quabbin Reservoir. So this one of the things here, next please, that's different is that we operate this so much differently than it was designed, because we have new regulatory environment that we have to operate in, dam safety regulations, water quality, EPA, DEP. So around early 2000s, we established an operating band. We maintained a certain band in the reservoir to basically limit spilling as much as possible and prepare for high rain events, hurricanes, and so forth. So we have this operating band that they never had. Next, please. Also, we had to, and one more, we had to meet dam safety regulations to meet spillway design floods, you know, NOAA's flood coming in. And basically at the time, back in the mid-2000s, we didn't meet that. This reservoir did not have adequate spillway. So we had to lower the part of the spillway 100 feet, a 100-foot long section, 2 feet, and install this hydraulically operated crest gate. You can see on the left and the right, there it is flowing. And we use this and some other outlets in the dam to basically control elevation, prepare for high rain events, do flood control. The last thing we want to do is flood out Clinton, you know, so we're always focused on flood control and so forth. So we've got operating band changes, we've got reservoir operations with spillways. Next, please. The other issue with rationale is water quality. Back around 1905, when the reservoir came online, they basically had very rudimentary water quality. These are the testing instruments, a couple of microscopes. Microbiology was in its infancy, and they knew that cloudy water wasn't good to drink. Other than that, they didn't test for anything else. They didn't have the equipment for it. They didn't have the knowledge for it and so forth. Fast forward to today, next. And we have very high-tech water quality monitoring in the reservoir. Click one more, please. across the reservoir, you'll see these floating yellow things. We have 3 water quality buoys that we deploy out there seasonally, usually in April, May, and then they stay in there through November or so. And this is, we're basically measuring Quabbin water, which is a different signature than Wachusett, coming through. And this is all 24/7, 365. Next, please. We also have a very high-tech water fingerprinting technology. It's assessing the water 24/7, 365. We have this at Oakdale. We have this at the Route 12 bridge, that little stone shack you see there, and also at Cosgrove Intake at the other end. So we're always monitoring the water for a variety of parameters that we have to report to DEP and EPA. Also, next, what they didn't have back then was modern water treatment like we do now. This is the water treatment plant in Marlboro, next, where we treat the water with ozone, and one more, and UV light. These are 2 primary disinfectants that we're required to do by EPA. These are all things that they couldn't even have envisioned back in 1905. Next, please. Another point of removal for rationale is the condition of the spillway. It's in very tough condition. It's missing stones, it's leaking, the spillway apron is offset, it's leaking at the bedrock masonry interface and so forth. One more. And the last phase 1, which is an inspection report, determined that it would be up to $500,000 to repair this and do required studies. For an obsolete dam, that is really just not a sound investment for something that's not performing a function anymore, because all the other rationale I mentioned, water quality and so forth, all those things have replaced the function of this downstream sediment accretion. Next, please. And the last thing is environmental. It's last but not least. This is very important. This was identified by the Mass Department of Ecological Restoration as an ideal candidate for a dam removal, basically to restore the landlocked salmon migration up the Quinnipiac River and also the trout that are resident there, and also to restore the natural riverine hydrology for climate resilience. Next, please. So this is our project team. MWA is the lead, DCR is our partner. DCR actually owns the dam. And this DCR, MWA funds this DCR, Watershed Division. Division of Ecological Restoration is a partner, SLR is our design consultant, and Luciano's Excavation is the contractor. Next. And these are project supporters. These have all, folks have issued letters of support for the project through the permitting process, and we're very happy to have them on board. Next. So the biggest issue here, and we were a little leery about doing this at first because Wachusett Reservoir is a drinking water supply for 3 million people. We have a waiver from filtration, and we've maintained that waiver for 20 years. One major upset to turbidity could really cost us the waiver, and we'd end up building a $500 million filtration component, and we don't want to do that. So we have to maintain that filtration waiver. Next. As I said, 2 of the major points, turbidity is one of them, coliform bacteria is the other. We start exceeding turbidity with this dam removal, we're in big trouble with EPA and DEP. So there's a lot of work focused on that. Next, please. Next. So, as you can imagine, the permitting on this was daunting. It took 4 years to go through the permitting. I won't read all these off, but there's some substantial, detailed, complicated permits, the MEPA process, the Army Corps of Engineers, and so forth, and we've received our order of conditions from West Boylston Conservation Commission. They were very supportive of the project as well. And only, as I said, it took 4 years. We only received the Army Corps of Engineers and the Waterways Chapter 91 last fall. It's a long process. Next. I won't go into all of these, but there are many components in design. The 3 important ones right now we're reviewing are the water control plan, sediment plan, and turbidity plan. Next. Next, please. So 3 phases of in-channel work. We're going to cofferdam the upstream and bypass the river to dry out where the weir is so we can demolish it. Then we're going to gravity bypass that water and demo the fish weir. We're going to salvage as much of the material as possible, all those nice granite stones. We're going to salvage those and reuse them where we can. And then we're going to install a tail race extension on our facility there, and I'll show you an example next. So this is what water bypass looks like. This is the Housatonic River, and this is our design consultant who did this design. So up in the upper left, you see these large white sandbags. They're called super sacks. Basically, you create a dam, cofferdam, to divert the river, And this, they're showing pipes. We may use pipes, we may use an open channel. We're still evaluating that. We're reviewing the calculations on both right now. And then it basically bypasses the work site and moves the river around it. And there's a number of conditions on this if, for high rain events where they have to do extra work, and if it's troubling, they have to get out of there. A number of things I won't go into right now, unless you want to hear that. Next. So just what's gonna look like at the end. So basically, once that weir is down, we want to turn the river back to what it looked like before. And a natural river channel is riffle, pool, riffle, pool, riffle, pool. Next. And this is the cartoon, but it illustrates, this is the fisheries biologists tell us this is important for them. The fish, they just expend energy going over the riffle, and then they sit in the pool to rest. It's a resting spot. Then they get up some energy and they go over to the next riffle. This is how they migrate upstream. So the riffle pool is really important. Next. This is busy, but what I want to illustrate, because some folks have said, well, how do you know all those stones just won't move when the river's high? So this, we're trying to mimic what it looked like before, but this is highly engineered. So you see the riffles there, the stonework, the dark areas. These are going to be anchored to bedrock. So the profile on the bottom shows where we have boulders. We're going to drill through boulders, the contractor, and we're going to put iron pins to pin those boulders to the bedrock, and that will hold these positions of riffle material in place. There may be some small movement around with flows, but this is generally how they're going to be held together. Next. Post-construction or deconstruction planting, we're having a wetland man to identify any invasive species, plants that are in the control zone, in the restoration zone, and those are going to be removed. And then we're going to restore it, and there's a highly designed, engineered plan for restoring this with native vegetation. We have native seed mixes and all that stuff. Your folks at Concom have looked at that and others as well. And this was all approved, Army Corps of Engineers, DEP, and so forth. Next, please. And I'll show you some examples of what this looks like. So this is, again, our design consultant who, this is one of their dam removals. And this isn't just throwing vegetation on the banks and throwing seed down and walking away. This stuff has got to mimic what nature has done over decades and decades. So you can see on the left, these are actual design plans, detailed plans showing how the contractor is going to be required to install these plantings, these root wads and so forth into the banks to make this thing function like a normal natural riverbank. Next. And this is another example of these things called soil wraps and brush layering. What we're trying to do here is mimic what has gone on in this river for decades. Rivers, they flood, they drop sediment, trees drop, branches get deposited. This stuff happens all the time over and over, and you basically have essentially like a lasagna of material in there, you know, sticks and mud and sand and gravel and more sticks. And so they're mimicking that process and placing this on the embankment. And this is also a great area for wildlife to nest in, amphibians and other things. Next. So this is some of the structures. I mentioned the extension of the tail race. How are we going to keep the fish from going up into our Oakdale Power Station? Next, please. And one more. So that dashed line is the water coming out of the intake. What we're doing is creating a barrier separating the tail race extension from the river. And you see, well, I had a little pointer, but you see that the red arrows there. We're creating these. Oh, you have a pointer? Okay, thank you.
Right at the top button.
Oh, that one.
I can't see it.
Mark. Here you go.
Oh, it doesn't work on the screen.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it works on the wall, not on the screen.
Oh, geez.
Okay, I've seen this before. It happens sometimes with.
I can
with
see
these-
the red outline.
Okay,
That's
thank
fine.
you. Sorry, I don't
got
want to,
it.
I want to keep moving here, so.
I'm fine.
Okay. So we were creating these fish deterrent barriers. These are like, they're like speed bumps that the tail race discharge will go over and ideally prevent the fish from getting into this. Now, we're not so, unrealistic to think that one Katie Ledecky type salmon really wants to get in there, because there are going to be some exceptionally strong fish that may get in there. So we've got a second fish deterrent barrier that is a little bit higher that will prevent them from going into the original tailways, but we also have a fish escape hatch that will have some flow coming down it from the river channel, which will be an attractive flow. So this has been well thought out, so if any fish get in there, they have a way to get out and back into the river. Next, please. One more. So one of the amenities that the DCR asked us to do, if we could install a a new, modern, ADA acceptable fishing platform. There is one down there now, and it's small, and it's not the current ADA standards. So what we did, we've looked at the DCR state parks across the state and National Park Service, and we've got their standard, and we're building a new ADA accessible fishing platform. Next, please. That'll look something like this, but it'll fit into the landscape a little better with a very nice improved access path that'll be graded and allow people who are wheelchair or otherwise impaired to get out there easily. Next. Okay, so this is one of the things I wanted to talk about to the board and seek your permission. We found as we're looking at the construction planning for this that while we can do most of this work, it would make this more efficient if we could access the project site from the rail trail. And this is the area we would propose, and Mr. Frieden had commented on this quite a bit. This would allow us, not all the time, but periodically to go in there when we need to remove some of the material we're taking down from the spillway, and we need to bring in materials for the restoration on that side. It just saves a lot of channel crossing and a lot of more disturbance on the site. So if this is approved by the board, I mean, we're a host of things we'll do to accommodate what you require, but certainly environmental protections, the place will be ringed with, silt fence and hay bale. We'll have warning cones and barrier tape when we're out there working. We will not impede the rail trail traffic. Pedestrians will have plenty of access there. We'll let the board know, or whomever we determine, when we're working out there, because it won't be all the time, it'll be periodic. And we need to remove a couple trees for the machine access. All the other trees will be protected, and we will restore anything that's damaged during the work, because it will be a machine going back and forth and moving stuff out. And Mr. Frieden had also said it would be a great amenity for this project to put in a nice trail there. And if that's, the board's wish, I mean, we're happy to incorporate that. Next, please. So I'm almost at the end, just a couple of examples of what a dam removal looks like. This is Cotton Gin Dam in Bridgewater. On the left and on the right, you can see there's the bypass piping, the cofferdams upstream of that, and they're bypassing the river. And next, please. And so that's what it looked like after completion. And here you see that riffle pool system. And this is soon after completion. The banks haven't been filled in with vegetation yet. Next. This is East Burke Dam in Vermont, and this dam is very similar to Quinnipiac Dam in size and the river channel and everything, so this is a really good example. And then you see 2 years post-removal, you got that riffle pool functioning like a normal river, like we intended to, and then also the vegetation is coming in really nicely along the embankment. Next. And just the schedule, we're actually mobilizing now for some early work, getting our construction trailers in, some access roads, staging the materials, and we have a groundbreaking, and I hope you're all invited. I brought some invitations.
It's on their agenda for
Okay.
later.
Okay, well,
For June 17th, we'll do
Yes.
it right now at 11 a.m.
I have actual paper invitations if I can leave them with you. And if you do come, you RSVP to Julie Sullivan, so we know you're coming, and you'll get the VIP treatment, you'll get parking at the facility, you won't have to park down River Road. So let us know who's coming, and if anyone has any special needs, let us know. And we also need it we're gonna have lunch and stuff, we need the head count for that, so we have the right amount of it. And next,
All right.
and that's it. Thank you for your time, I hope that wasn't too long.
That was not bad at all, and it had checked an additional agenda item that was for later on, so that was great. I love everything we saw. I think of the mixture field, we couldn't figure out where the phone was, and that's from 1905. So that was great. You are fine with the questions Mark was asking about putting a trail in. Mark, you had all your questions answered, and you feel good about the responses, and there's no...
He mentioned the ADA accessible platform, that fishing platform on the DCR side. If they want to put one on the other side, this trail would be perfect to get to it. I mean, I don't know if they want to do that or not. And unfortunately, I think I can speak for somebody. We don't have funds. This would just be as a courtesy to letting you go down, use the rail trail for access. We would get something out of it, but we don't have any funds to say, all right, we're going to pay for something extra.
That's fine, and we totally reasonable. Yeah,
Okay.
that's an amenity we can work on with your approval to use that access. It saves us a lot of effort, and we're happy to do that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
So I assume dogs are not allowed, right?
No,
The DCR side
not
is
right
not-
there, because it's water supply. That's DCR watershed regulations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
I think it would be great if we could tie that to getting
Town hall.
better pilot reimbursements or.
Sorry,
Or
this-
actually
this is-
recreational access to the waterfront, but, actually, I understand why it's going. I'm kind of bummed out by it because it's probably one of the coolest scenes along the rail trail. And I actually learned something about the fish ladder. I didn't realize that was a fish ladder. I just thought that was a remnant of whatever used to be on the factories or the manufacturing base that used to be there, so that's interesting. Pretty cool. Those old photographs, for anybody that might actually be paying attention, you can find a whole host of them on Digital
Yeah,
Commonwealth.
that's where I got those. That's a resource, it really is.
It's super high resolution photographs of Old
Zoom
West
right in.
Boylston and
You
really
can see the
cool
faces
stuff.
on people working.
Really cool stuff.
all right. Well, thank you so much. All right, so this is an item that we
You would need
are considering granting, so we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
What's, Christina?
Yeah?
I mentioned to you what I asked of the applicant or requester, but I didn't mention it to anybody else. Do you want me to tell other people what I asked for?
So he mentioned having an access path. He wanted a walkway put down. Do you want to go?
Well-
Go for it.
For construction, and then they would restore it back to original conditions. I was just suggesting that they leave the path or finish the path as a path rather than restoring it to original conditions, and it would be a permanent addition to the rail trail is what I was suggesting.
Thank
Okay,
you, Mark.
bye-bye.
And
Yes.
you are minimal, you are okay with doing that as part of this?
Yes, and for that, we're fine with that. The thing is, the path that we leave will have to meet certain standards for accessibility, not ADA because it's a forest trail,
Yeah.
but for safety issues. We have to, because it's a steep area where we're filling in, so
Yeah.
there might have to be like a handrail or something there. These are like building code stuff. So we'll evaluate that with our team.
Okay, but you have nothing against that?
No,
Mark, that
no, that's fine.
satisfies what you needed? Yes, but?
Yeah,
Nod?
yeah,
Okay.
in that general location.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now we're back to Jay. Was that a motion?
A motion to grant access as per, how do I want to say this, Jen?
Consider granting access.
Consider granting access to.
to grant access to MWRA and their contractor Luciano Excavation and any subcontractors to the West Boylston-owned rail trail
To,
for this construction project through April 2025.
yeah, that. So
Can
moved.
we, I'm sorry, I don't want to be asking for more, because we have site restoration work that will happen after April. I mean, we're going to be getting out of the river in April, but then we're going to be restoring the embankment, so we'd like to go maybe into the following fall with that.
September 2025.
September 2025?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Have a wonderful
There's a
evening.
lot going on here. Can you hear me?
Thanks, Jen.
Yes. All right, so we are gonna do the next section. We're gonna do it in two chunks. So normally for reappointments, select board and town administrator, there's usually like a page of reappointments we go through for folks that are going up. So I'm gonna go to appointments and resignations since we have you, Mark, for another short period of time. We're gonna start with just the first bucket of town administrator reappointments. Before that section, is there any,
Yes, Madam Chair. So on the town administrator's appointments, I wanted to make sure that folks saw, there was an amendment to the agenda striking Ms. Pedoni from the Solid Waste Advisory Team and replacing in her stead Thomas Cosgrove. In addition to that amendment, I'm not moving forward with the reappointment of Vincent Vignali to the Community Preservation Committee. So I would ask that the board only support the appointment of Patricia Halpin to the CPC.
So if we take that section with those two amendments to vote that section just as one piece, and then we can,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the town administrator's appointments and reappointments as listed in the agenda as amended currently
in this meeting.
in this meeting.
I'll
Is
second
that
that.
second? That suffices for kind of these updates. Any discussion on these topics?
I do.
Raj?
So, the thing is, I do know a little bit on this. And the only concern I have is, I do know that it is a town administrator's appointment, and it is on the agenda. So, yes, we did not hear any, we don't need to have a reason, but I would suggest the town administrator to bring in Vincent Vignali to the board, and does the town select board maybe hear
So,
his side of the story?
first of
If you are
all,
willing.
But before-
stepping, Madam Chair, if I may.
Could I just say one thing? I wouldn't want to treat this though, Raj, any different than we did the Board of Health. So I know that you have a personal connection here, but in the Board of Health scenario, you asked for her to take that back herself and make a decision outside of the select board. Now you're
Yeah, but we
asking
didn't do it.
for her to bring
I'm
it
sorry, we
forward.
didn't do this.
Madam
We did this,
Chair.
select board did that. We did this, we did not send it back to the town.
No, we
administrator.
voted not to, but that was your recommendation
Madam
there,
Chair.
so now it's different.
I'd like to be recognized,
Go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
sorry.
Madam Chair, the special act for the town of West Boylston grants significant powers to the town administrator. In fact, the town administrator's appointments, technically, under the special act, do not need to be approved by the select board for either appointments to committees, boards, and commissions, or for employees that I appoint. The reason we do it this way is because the special act, what it actually says, is that you may disapprove one of my appointments by a 4/5 vote. Okay? So in order for, I'm supposed to send you notification of who I plan to appoint to a board, committee, or commission. If the board intends to disapprove somebody, you can put it on your agenda to disapprove within a certain time period by that 4/5 margin. So the quote-unquote concurrence is not a required vote whatsoever. We do that for expediency, so that, especially in the hiring realm, that we're not waiting, that I say I'm gonna hire somebody before I give them a notice of hiring, I wait 14 days, you decide to have a meeting to disapprove a hiring. That's just not reality. But the special act grants significant authority to the town administrator to appoint certain individuals. I have chosen not to reappoint Mr. Vignali to the Community Preservation Committee. That is my choice. I have not I will communicate some of the reasons therefore to Mr. Vignali. What I have not chosen at this point is whether or not to file a complaint against a public official. If I do so, that then would be a matter before the select board for your consideration.
Understood. Thank you for the information, Raj. I appreciate the input too, and I understand it. So I respect and understand it. Is there further discussions on the motion and the second that's on the floor right now? And remember, so there
Okay.
is an option
So-
after, because we do them in sections, we could do it in sections.
The first one is the one, we are withdrawing, or whatever the name is discontinued. I like to make the motion separately.
Madam Chair, you do not need to vote whatsoever on concurrence unless you're going to disapprove one of my appointments.
I'm just, so right now, we have a motion and a second, so we can't have an additional motion. So I'm gonna say, let's take a vote on what it is right now. Then entertain anything further. So I'm gonna do a roll call vote on this one. Mark, I'm gonna have you go first since you're on line, sorry.
Aye, yes, yes, I approve the motion.
As motioned and seconded. Vanessa?
Yep.
Raj, sorry, Jay.
Aye.
Christina, I'm a yes. Raj? No. No, okay. All right,
So, Madam Chair, to be clear, Raj just voted to not support, all of this slate to not be reappointed by the town administrator.
Because the one reason is, so the one reason is, so we normally take up if we are making any changes in any of the items, we normally take up that item and then vote on it. So I requested that, but it was denied. So for that reasons, I have no choice than voting for everything no, and then this,
well, we have to follow me, so Raj, there are certain, you have to follow the laws of motions in second, it's required. So after that, you can make a motion, but the
this is
motion stands, you can't just reject it because you weren't
no,
happy
but
with
we
it.
can always withdraw the motions and then make this one first.
But the
and
people
then
on the board
remainder
didn't want
then-
to though, so that's where it's kind of stuck.
Yeah, then my vote
Okay.
is no.
Madam Chair, for clarity for the future, I am requesting that we place the town administrator's appointments, we characterize them as disapproval, so that it is very clear, even though we're not disapproving, I want this in the minutes, please. We are not disapproving anybody, but that is the only vote that the board is taking on the town administrator's appointments, is whether or not to disapprove. Not approve, you're not approving, you're choosing not to disapprove.
We'll take that as a future agenda item, but thank you for noting. I also, anyone that is part of the new appointments or reappointments that is online right now, I want to thank you for volunteering. We have a lot of openings. If you have friends, please have them send things in. Just thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you if I haven't already. All right, the next section, is our select board reappointments, and this one, there is, noted in your agenda, there is an issue with the last one on the third page. So, sorry, hold on. I'm gonna take the select board reappointments, and there's one, I see one cross out, Faye and Jen, but there's also, I didn't write down the correction on the third one. So can someone help me, and the dates of expiring?
So the select board's reappointment of Pat Halpin and Christopher Berglund was listed twice, so that's the strikeout. And on the bottom of page 3, the select board's reappointment of Cheryl Christant to it says finance committee, it should be personnel committee, because term to expire June 30.
Okay. Everyone understand that? Is there any questions about that? I see you move your mic, someone asked. Sorry, I didn't even entertain a motion, but,
I was just gonna make a motion,
oh,
because
go for it.
I don't have any questions. I'd like to make a motion to approve the select board appointments as listed in the agenda, as amended, as articulated here.
Second. Okay. Any discussion on these? No discussion? We're gonna do a roll call on these too. Mark?
Aye,
Raj?
Aye.
I'm a yes. Jay?
Aye.
Vanessa? Aye. Okay. We're just acknowledging, I'm not sure, actually, Mark recommended we not acknowledge that Mr. Crowley is, resigning from all of his boards, but doesn't work over here, so celebrations, CPC, Mr. Crowley is effective June 30th. His resignation has been offered for CPC, and June 5th for the celebrations committee. Acknowledge the resignation of Maxwell Materis for the equipment operator effective May 12th, 2024. Acknowledge the resignation of Ryan Fahey Equipment operator was like, he was on my last one, May 21st, 2024. Acknowledge the resignation of Melanie, damn it, Rich, Planning Board Clerk, effective June 5th, 2024. Do we have any others? No? All right, it is so acknowledged. Oh, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? This is for the town administrator. So these two DPW guys, are they newer appointments?
Yes, so, Mr. Fahey's first day of employment was May 21st, 2024, and his last day of employment was May 21st, 2024. He had not realized how strenuous the position was going to be, how physically strenuous the position was. Mr. Materis was with us a little bit longer than that, but also just, he didn't, it wasn't the work that he was expecting.
What he was doing, Ryan Fahey?
They were both equipment operators.
What kind of work he was doing?
Equipment operators are doing anything from catch basin cleaning, mowing, weed whacking, rebuilding a catch basin, which is moving
Oh,
brick.
he didn't like the work?
Both of them, I believe, from what I understand, it was more difficult physical work than they expected.
Okay. But it's not due to the salary, right?
No. No, there was no mention from either of these individuals, either to myself directly in their resignation letter or via word of mouth about the compensation being an element.
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. All right, if that is good, I'm gonna jump back to 2, because I missed an agenda bullet there to discuss and approve summer schedule. As all of you like to meet a lot, usually in the summer, the select board goes down to 1 meeting a month. Just due to the amount of meetings we had over the past 6 months preparing for things, I would like to keep that unless there is, in turn, emergency meetings. The select board has executive sessions, things that come up, we will have meetings, but our summer schedule is once a month. I'm gonna be quiet, because I know, Jen, you love to schedule meetings. And is there any, yeah, go ahead.
Can we do once in 2 months?
So unfortunately, so next Wednesday, June 19th is a holiday.
Oh.
So
Yep.
that would be our regularly scheduled second meeting for June. I do believe we have some items that I'm gonna have to bring before the select board before the end of June, for probably an off-cycle meeting, maybe even a Zoom meeting, perhaps. But if we go over to, so that would be not scheduling that today, but more polling members. But if we go over to July, my recommendation for the July meeting would be July 17th.
Is it the second,
It's actually the 3rd.
third Wednesday?
Because July 3rd is the day before the July 4th holiday. Then you have July 4th holiday is on a Thursday,
It
and
would be a normal, but so for us, it would be a normal meeting day.
July 17th would be a normal meeting
Normal
day.
meeting day. Is that, do you guys okay with that? Mark, can you look at your schedule and just tell me, July 17th would be okay with that date?
Yeah, they're, all my Wednesdays are clear.
Okay.
And then I have no opinion on August 7th or 21st.
I can't do the 21st.
Do we have a requirement for the warrants that we approve? Do those have a time limit that we have to do them in? No? Okay.
So our normal meeting would be on August 7th. Are we good with keeping the August 7th meeting date for August? Mark, he keeps moving, so it keeps making me want to move with him. No one opposed?
He's talking.
He's talking?
So August 7th is going to be the first Wednesday. And July is third Wednesday.
Yeah, so we normally would have it on the 7th and the 21st if we had it every other week. So this would be
So-
keeping it the August 7th.
Since we have, no, I don't know whether you have any conflict, but I don't care. But
We have one
since,
conflict for the 21st.
no, you have a conflict.
Yep, so Vanessa just noted she had a conflict.
Okay, that's fine.
Is everyone okay
Since
with
we
this?
have a 17th, it's a very short time, that's what I was.
Yeah. And we might, that month might be one where we look at, Raj, we might have to do something maybe.
Undoubtedly, now that we've scheduled this, we'll be meeting every week. Just kidding.
Did you say that openly? I don't, just ignore it. All right, so right now we have those dates. I'm gonna ignoring Jen, we're not meeting every week with you. I'm ignoring the comment. All right, so I've checked off page 2.
No, Madam Chair,
No.
the second item under new business. Authorized
Oh.
signatures.
All right, so approve this way, don't go out of order, folks. Approve, authorized signatures. Can I ask one question on this?
Yes, ma'am.
We normally have the entire select board as authorized signatures. I know there's 2 we vote on, but is there a reason?
Okay, so, prior to the Mass Modernization Act, when a board was approving something, the entire board would need to sign it. So now, just one member or a majority, however the board wants to decide, can make the decision how they want to sign it. In last year, what you did is, you said any member of the select board can be an authorized signatory. I think, so that we don't have to, if the board is inclined, you can always undo it in the future, but so we don't have to re-vote this every year. What Faye and I were discussing is that going forward, any single member of the select board can be an authorized signatory, then she can get a certified vote without individuals' names associated, just any select board member, and then we don't have to vote this every year.
That was gonna be my point. I thought we did something like that, so I'm wrong on that.
We do it every year, but
Every-
we have a thought of how we can comply with state law and have just the one vote tonight suffice by saying any member of the select board for the foreseeable future can.
Can we just make that
Authorized
a select board policy and just,
Sure, Faye will do a certified vote for it and file it with the accountant.
We could have a motion though
Yeah,
for that
but
right
that's
now.
that, a motion, that,
Would be great.
okay, so moved. I don't know what I've just moved, but
So you're making a motion
I'm making, for anybody to, any board
select board
member
member.
be an authorized signatory.
Do you need anything else on that, Faye? No? All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Further discussion?
Question. So how are you going to, this last board, this board is a new member is here. How do you get that signature?
this, signing this sheet is
I know.
a protocol, it's not a state law requirement. So, for example, in the treasurer collector's office, they did this as well, and rather than say Jane Smith, Mary Ellis, they changed it to titles. So that's what we are doing through this motion, is just changing it to the title of any select board member.
So instead of saying Christina Pedoni Chair,
Right.
like, it's just gonna say kind of open.
Member of the
That
select board.
signature sheet won't have anything.
Right.
It'll just be a certificate of
Vote in the file,
So from today till,
So
till you
next year-
change it.
till
Okay.
another board wants to change it to names.
Or another board wants all members to sign, or a majority to sign.
Okay. Mark, I think you had a question, you kind of went off mute, sorry.
No, I was seconding, but
Oh.
I'm good.
All right, any further discussion on this one? No? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Mark. Jen, I'm done with page 2. All right. Let's go.
No,
town
there's the bottom
administrator's
one.
report.
No, you have 4 items on the top of page 3.
Hold
No,
on.
at the bottom of page 2 has considered requesting solid waste advisory team to advise select board on policy prohibiting trash collection in certain site developments. Is that on that page?
3.
That's it. So yours is printed differently, but
Oh,
yes,
okay.
that is the next one. So consider requesting the solid waste advisory team to advise the select board on policies prohibiting trash collection at a certain size developments. Mark,
So
would
moved.
you like to speak? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, let's discuss this one though. Right, so in
Oh,
your
okay.
packets, there was some information, Mark, I'd like to discuss it a little bit. What are your thoughts around this one?
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because apparently, or not apparently, at some point, we're gonna have to renegotiate a trash contract. And right now, it might not even be in the current trash contract. The limitation that sort of saves up some money by not having trash collection in developments, so we don't have to go in and collect, from a condo complex or something like that, doesn't exist except in one of those contracts. So I just wanted to move it to a policy so that in future contract negotiations, it's a known quantity. It stays enforceable. And right now it says that we can't do collections in developments over 4 units. So like, there's several of them, I'm just gonna mute because they're making noise here.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
It's killing me today. We have 2 citations, I think everyone, Mark, you need to sign when you come back. Citation for Briarwood Communities, 14-year anniversary, and do we have to do them individually? No. Approve the citation for West Boylston Senior Center, 5-year anniversary. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the citations listed in the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Mark, sorry about that. Consider approving a 1-day pouring license for Fall Fest, October 19th, 2024, from 11 to 5.
So, Madam Chair, before we have the applicant go through the mechanics of actually filling out a 1-day pouring license, this is really on here because this is not something we've done in the past. And it's to get whether or not the board would approve alcohol at Fall Fest. If you are going to say yes, then we will have 7 Saws fill out an application for a 1-day pouring license.
Why not? Let everyone can drink.
Well, we're letting them drink at the senior center,
Yeah.
right? So,
Why not? Why not at the town common? What the heck?
I'm in favor of that.
all right, so, this is a consideration, so this would require a motion. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on this topic?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Where did the request, originate? Is this from people who want to do this at Fall Fest or?
Vendors.
Or where?
Celebrations Committee,
Okay.
requested having, I believe they did try last year, but it was too late. Based on the emails, it looks like the person that was gonna do it maybe pulled out, or they couldn't get volunteers to do it, because of pouring licenses. So Celebrations Committee made the request to have it, to try to do it again this year.
Okay.
It could be a
Okay, sounds
garden.
good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Raj?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, no opposed. Great. Moving off of page 3. This is why you guys shouldn't let me jump around, because I mess up your agendas.
Doing good.
All right. Now we were at the town administrator's report, which is also, she sent me individually and told me it was a packet today. Nice catch, I saw that. All right, so Jen?
Yes.
I'm timing you, go.
Okay, so, the first item is I am thrilled to announce that the town will be receiving the Community Compact Municipal Fiber Grant. The board will recall that I worked together with John Fitch at the Municipal Light Plant to apply for this grant. We are receiving $151,100. Through this grant, we will connect already runs through our community. Municipal Light Plant will also be enhancing their kind of head end of the fiber system, which will be an element for the future rollout of fiber to the community at large. So we are very excited about this grant. I thank John and his team for their continued partnership. And once we move over to the municipal fiber, this should also result in significant cost savings for each of our buildings, as we will no longer have to subscribe for internet service.
When can I have it? That's the,
I-
when is
That
everybody
is
in
a-
town getting it? 'Cause
That is a wonderful question, and the Municipal Light Plant agendas are posted, and you can go to one of their meetings.
No, thank you.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Do we, I thought we have some of the municipal buildings, I don't know, senior center or the police station is already connected? Is that true?
The fiber comes to certain buildings, the fiber comes to the building, but it's not really connected. So, there's components of the system that are needed inside to make it run on that fiber.
So it's,
So-
nothing is connected.
Correct. So this building has fiber to it, senior
Senior
center has
center.
fiber built to it, police station has fiber to it, but that fiber's not live. Some buildings have no fiber whatsoever.
So this is coming from Selco in Salisbury, right?
It is coming from Selco, and it's coming also from Sterling. So it's a redundant feed into West Boylston.
I thought it's Salisbury to, through
Shrewsbury to
our
Holden,
town.
yep,
Goes to the Sterling.
that's one. No, and then one comes from the north
Oh, really?
through Sterling.
Okay. Thank
So, this also should help them figure out what the rollout is gonna look like elsewhere. We're a little bit of a guinea pig, but this is a huge award, and I'm very excited about it. Next up, MassDOT is going to be coming in the first week of July to do the traffic study at Route 12 and Franklin. This is a second step of a meeting that I told you about that happened in January to look at traffic safety improvements at that intersection. You can see the pace of this project is going to be long. So it's happening, but this is gonna be slow. So this is step 2. I know Transportation Committee is very interested in this. And what I understand is there's gonna be recommendations that come from this study, and then the town is gonna have to make a decision about some of those recommendations.
Is it normal that it would take that long?
During the January meeting, they said that they won't get a team out here until the early part of the summer. Yeah. For those that did not see on social media, earlier this week, there was a large-scale drill that was hosted by the town of West Boylston, specifically the fire department. It was an active shooter drill, and it took place at the Worcester County Sheriff's Office. There were 270 participants and 30 partner agencies. I was there as an observer. The superintendent was also there as a observer. First and foremost, I am incredibly proud of our department for organizing this event, but I do not want to take anybody's thunder. This event was the most inspiring, breathtaking, striking thing to witness. The response was quite live, and I would like the fire department to come in at a future meeting and talk about it. Talking to our folks who participated, particularly the police, they said that they had participated in drills before, but never anything as real as this. So if folks are interested, there's some great photos on Wachusett County Sheriff's Facebook page that you can see kind of what it entailed. Hopefully, nobody will ever have to be in a real situation, but I think every agency that participated in that event is better for it today. 57 Goodell Street Garage is, as of this morning, it was about 90% down, so I would expect that if it's not 100% down as we speak, it will be in the next couple of days.
If you don't want, can I?
Go ahead.
If you don't want to say in a meeting, that's fine. Is this, there was a hearing, right? Court hearing. Is this before or after?
After the court hearing. The judge, I can say, because it was on the public record, the judge, at that hearing, we were asking for contempt.
Yeah.
The judge did not grant contempt. The judge ordered back to the parties to try to come up with a further agreement. I did not bring that back to the full board because you had already issued an agreement. That was communicated back to Mr. Gabriel, who then immediately started demolishing.
When was that hearing? Sometime 30th or something like that?
It was while I was out, so it was.
That's okay.
I was
No,
gonna say,
You don't have to. The thing is, my question is, did he pull the demolition permit? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's fine, as long as it's gone, it's gone.
Yep, he pulled the demo
I'm very
permit.
surprised. I go through that road every day, but I didn't see big,
Yeah,
movement.
June 2nd, there was video footage of
Yeah,
it
Zoom
being
meeting.
starting
removed.
coming,
Zoom meeting.
no, of it
No,
coming
no,
down.
video footage of it being removed.
June 2nd?
June 2nd, there was video
That's when it
footage.
started.
Yeah, that's when it started. That was the day it started.
No.
But the thing, we were asking for a number of things in contempt, and the judge never got to those items, so.
As long as it is gone, we'll be happy.
The Alcohol Beverage Control Commission, just so the board is aware, made some COVID-era changes permanent. So cocktails to go are now permanent, provided that it's cocktails only, not beer or wine, and that it goes with takeout food, and there's some other parameters, but cocktails to go are here to stay. And the ABCC no longer needs to permit outdoor dining and outdoor serving. So if the select board in considering a license wants to weigh in, they've said that is completely up to the local licensing authority, but that will no longer have to go to the ABCC.
No, let them enjoy.
In this month's edition, I have it in your packet for you, of the Beacon. The executive director of the Massachusetts Municipal Association, Adam Chapdelaine, wrote an article on the legislation about creating a municipal building funding authority similar to the Mass School Building Authority. The board will recall that we submitted legislative testimony about that bill, and he lifted from our testimony, without crediting anybody, but that's okay, all the language about West Boylston buildings. So West Boylston's infrastructure status was included in the MMA's Beacon, and I think that means that if this bill goes forward, we should get funding first, but that's just me. There was a scam associated with Fall Fest. Folks were recently contacting some of our vendors who had participated in the past and saying that they were organizing Fall Fest and to pay them money. A lot of folks realized that it was a scam. Hopefully, nobody paid them. But the Celebrations Committee is hosting Fall Fest, and folks should ensure that they're speaking with a member of the Celebrations Committee, and only to make payments to the town of West Boylston.
We posted something, I didn't hear about this, which is good.
Somebody from the Celebrations Committee posted that that they had not officially announced vendor applications.
Okay, I was just wondering, could we put something in like our town?
I think it seems to be over. It
okay.
was,
All
a
right.
lot of them were
I hadn't heard
contacting us.
about it, but I just imagine like our luck during Fall Fest, someone will show up and ask for their vendor feedback.
Right.
Show up and set up, which will be more interesting.
And today, we had a training for various departments and the school on our Combi system, which is the state procurement system that is super complicated and nobody understands. So I asked them to come out and explain their software to us live and in person, and hopefully folks will start to use it and it'll save us a few pennies.
Was it well attended?
It was very well attended, actually.
Awesome. All right, any questions on those topics? Hearing none? All right, so the next item I have is under meeting invitations and announcements. I'm skipping the Dan because he did that for us. Public presentation on resilient streams of the Wachusett Reservoir, vulnerability, preparedness, grant funding, and recommendations. I can't wait to attend this on June 20th at 6 p.m. at the town hall.
I'm gonna give a plug for this.
I know you are. That's why I said I couldn't wait to attend, because I know you want everyone to attend
I
this.
do. So this was about a $100,000 grant that we received, and Weston and Sampson has been working on for us over the past year. And the topic is very nerdy. It is flooding and dams and invasive species and culverts, and it's not exciting at all. Except I saw a preview of their presentation, and it's very interesting, because when they talk about the sites that they have identified, it's gonna resonate with you. And the solutions, stop making fun of me, the solutions are quite simple. So we're applying for a next round grant to actually start engineering some of the solutions, and they're looking for feedback. So come, it's cool, it's geeky, but it's cool.
I was very excited, and you blushed when saying it. We're not making fun of you. We're with you on this. All right, so.
I'm making fun of you.
I'm not. So, Senior Center 5-year anniversary. This is open to everyone. Just to give this little bit of plug, food truck, off the hook. I'm not sure what that is, but I like food trucks, live music. There's ice cream, face painting for the kids. because like Raj said, there's drinking everywhere. There's gonna be a cash, adult bar. I'm wondering though, if there will be bus services during it. Probably not. There's free popcorn, cornhole, lawn chairs. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets and your kids and everyone that you know in town, to this event. All right, moving along, future agenda items or select board reports. Mark?
Nothing.
I don't even know if I want.
Motion to adjourn.
The second.
Okay.
All right, so, anyone else?
I have something.
You, oh, okay, go for it.
I don't know. That's great.
I would like to put on a agenda in the future, considering polling the town for a day and time where we should have our town meetings, instead of always having them Monday at 7 PM.
It's almost like surveying the town.
Yes.
So we'll put that on a future agenda item. No one else has anything? And I've gotten everything on every agenda page. So right now, we're gonna consider entering into executive session under the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, Purpose 3, for respect to collective bargaining sessions with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 5050. As chair, I declare an open meeting will be detrimental to the effects of the bargaining position for the public body. Following the executive session, we will come back into regular session. And I will do a roll call. Mark?
Okay.
Raj?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Vanessa? Okay, thank you, folks, and we'll be back.
Mark, are we calling
Mark?
you Mark?
bye. Okay. All right, folks. into our regular scheduled meeting. The only item left is to ratify the International Association of Firefighters Local 5054 bargaining agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to ratify the collective bargaining agreement with the firefighters association.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Mark?
Yes?
I am a yes. Jay?
Yes.
Yes.
Nessa, yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mark. Enjoy your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
No.
Go Brock!
Bye, everyone.